there, people in the YouTube land. Fat guy with old computers here, and I got a little treat especial today. I don't know if I'm actually going to get the video done or not, but I've been receiving some items in the mail, and this is one of them. It is this little, basically, Oddware. So this is the, I know I'm just stealing it from Who's It's, but I don't really care, because that's what I'm going to do. And this is an odd little piece of equipment that I just found on a whim, and I'm going to, plug it in and see how she works. As you can partially read, it is a IDE 2.5-inch hard drive that sits on a PCR card that is SATA. And wrap your head around that for a minute, and once you get it figured out, I will show it to you. Whatever, yada, yada, yada. Pentium 3 DOS. So this is brand new. People didn't know how to use SATA yet. So obviously the company that made this thought, whatever this company is, thought that, people have these old hard drives around from old laptops, and they want to reuse it somehow. So we got space on the card. Let's just throw it together and see what happens. And so we're going to open it up and see if it works. So inside the box, it looks like it is new in box. I got a couple little screws. Neat. I got the card itself. I have a floppy disk with drivers, which is, it would have been necessary back then. Now it's, whatever. I did image this disk, and it's just basic XP 2098 drivers. 95 as well. I didn't look that hard at it. We have, at first glance, what appears to be a warranty card of some sort. It is written in some kind of foreign language that I do not know. What I do understand is effective only in Japan. So I am inclined to believe this is in Japanese. And we have the manual in Japanese. Not all that interesting, because it's all in Japanese. But it looks like they had Windows 2000 XP in mind, something BIOS, something boot. Alpha Data is the name of the company, apparently. But yeah, so this is pretty worthless unless you know Japanese. I don't, so put this all back in. And set this gently. So the card itself is your average sized PCI card. I say that often. Now this is based on the Silicon Image SATA-Link SIL3112, which is a very standard, very compatible SATA controller. Drivers are incredibly easy to find. There's not a problem. Now, what I had originally planned and wanted and was searching for one that has a SATA connector and not an IDE. They supposedly exist. I found a picture of one. In fact, you might be looking at it right now. This card is slightly different, but I grabbed it because it was $7 out of Russia. Well, $7 plus $7, but yeah. You have the BIOS chip, you have the controller, extra power, and this is what actually threw me for a loop slightly, is this little guy right here. It is also from Silicon Image. It's the SIL3611. Lighting sucks. Well, fuck it. So, basically, this is an SATA to IDE bridge. Yeah, so they're converting the SATA for the PCI to the SATA to the IDE, and goes on there. Because the original plan was to reuse some of my old SSDs out of my main system, and just you can see where I'm going with this. That was the goal. But I found an IDE one, and it was cheap, so I got it. So I had to secure an IDE drive. I don't have one per se. I did manage to steal one out of a laptop I have, but it's a working laptop. So I thought I could just take a little adapter. So we're going to try this and see if this works. If not, I did steal the IBM Travel Star out of my laptop. And if that, no matter what, we'll at least try that there. So let's gently. Is it even? Oh, I'm just out of alignment slightly. So there, it goes just like that. Naturally, you put the 2 screws that were in the bag in there, and you're good to go. You might be wondering about the power connector. Is the power connector required? No. This power connector, actually, if I gently remove this, is only for this wonky port right here. It looks kind of like a bastardized PS2 port. And there's an external SATA. This is not eSATA, this is just a regular SATA. So one external with power for an external drive. Yay! Okay, so almost completely worthless. I guess that's why nobody else bought it, and why I was lucky enough to get it for $7. But this, if you follow the traces on the back side, the power only goes from there right straight to there. No fuses, no protection whatsoever. So if you plug in something weird here, it goes pop. Yeah. It's just one of those things. Well, we're not going to be fucking with this. We might do something with that, but let's move on and let's see if it actually does anything. So before we get started here, I have my test bench, but just before that, I wanted to thank my donor computer here, this nice little Dell Inspiron 2100, for being the sacrificial lamb for the hard drive. Little 20 gig hard drive. It's slow as it's slow, but it's going to be good enough for testing, I hope. I've had this laptop since 2005, and it ran 2000 on a Pentium 700. It's a good little ultrabook, and this is not the point. But I just wanted to recognize my little laptop for sticking it out all these years. So this is the hard drive that was in that laptop. In case I didn't show it before, little IBM Travel Star, 4200 RPM, 20 gigs, and yeah. All right. So looking at what I want to do first, and I want to see if the card will post. So if I can even see the BIOS in the screen. You're probably not going to be able to read it, but we're going to give it a shot. Anywho. Now, while this is booting up, I have 512 megs RAM, 2.0, whatever, Celeron. I happen to find this board in my box of good stuff, and I have no idea. I do know if it works, at least it should. It's going to help if I plug in the monitor. Weird concept. Let's just be gentle about it. Ta-da! I know you can't read it, so you're going to... Oh, it's a 2.2 Celeron. Sweet. Little SIS chipset board. Let's see. That went by way too fast. So it's in the Ultimate Boot CD now. That just flew by. I don't like that. So... Okay, so this time it's working. There's actually a little BIOS issue with this particular board. Found it. We're good. But I had to change the BIOS option of the memory location for the PCI cards. This is some jacked up, no-name motherboard from God knows where. Don't be alarmed. That's normal. So it was putting the memory address for this board out in weird PCI land. And that's obviously not good for this thing because it's expecting... Anyway, it wasn't working. I changed it so it goes to this normal spot, and now it's working. I just like to ramble. Anyway, this is a normal screen for Windows 2000 anyway. You get this screen when you've taken a Windows 2000 hard drive out of a computer, put it into something else, and try to boot off of it. Right now, even though it started booting, it does not have the drivers installed for this SIL chip, and that's when you get this. So basically what you would do is you'd open this, put this into another computer, copy the driver over, blah, 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 fuck with it for an hour. You can put this back in, pop right up, and it'll go. Not a problem. It's working. Huzzah! Well, so I'm going to turn that off. Looking at the drive, we know it works when the drive is like so. Looking at it, the missing pin here is on the bottom. Looking at this, the missing pin is at the bottom when it's like this. That's not exactly what I was planning on. Also, it's labeled pin 1. That's labeled pin 1. It's going to go in like so. Ta-da! Wait, I am just so backwards. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, close enough. So that's... see, this is a failure of design right here, of this adapter. And what I was expecting was this would be upside down and would still fit in. And I'm looking at it, that's exactly what it could do if this connector was turned around. But no, it's like this. And like this means that's the gap. Okay. Well, luckily it rests slightly on this little power connector. So we are just going to try this shortly. And, yeah. Let's make sure that's all snug. Oh, not banged. Now, I'm not entirely confident about this because it's a SATA controller to an IDE adapter to an IDE to SATA adapter to a kind of fast drive. It's about as stupid of a setup as you can imagine. SATA, IDE, IDE to SATA, and then yeah, it's suboptimal. But we're going to see if it works, because if it works, then I can kind of fudge it and we can play with it afterwards. But, you know, if it doesn't work at all, then, you know, I know to try something else. Let's see. Normal. And nope.
20 minutes later.
Okay, so I'm going handheld here for a minute. Memory bird system lock? What the hell? Okay. That should be... Okay. I guess that's nice. That's kind of... whatever. This is kind of a lockdown BIOS in this. This is just a no-name crappy Pentium 4. And it has this weird stuff. I just was flipping through. No, that's not what I wanted. See, this is the thing that was causing the issues previously. Where it, you know... But it seems to be... It's not even funny. Yes, it doesn't even initialize this card when that thing is installed. So, and that's the same card, same everything except for that. So, it's not liking that adapter. Let's take that off and go from there. Okay, so we're going to try it like this. I haven't, hopefully this shows up on the camera. But I got this little SATA cable, plugs into the back. I got a SATA cable that plugs into nya. I got a SATA power that plugs into nya. And, what can I set that? Will that sit there? Yeah, that'll sit there. Okay, so I got the original, I haven't even pulled this out of the slot. Same slot, back to the old hard drive. Let's see how well she works. Okay, so it found it. Now it found both drives, and they're both recognized properly. So the controller works fine. It works just fine. Quiet, you. The card works fine. Hard drive works fine. The SSD works fine. It's just it don't like this little itty-bitty shitty Chinese adapter. Shocker. Well, let's see if it's the adapter or if it's the adapter on the adapter. So I got a USB adapter that I'm going to put into the. I'm gonna fuck with it a little bit more and see if it's the adapter or see if it's the card. Not liking the adapter. All right, so I know the white balance is off, but right now I have just a USB hard drive guy here. Nothing special, nothing fancy. USB 3 for those that matter. And I am going to right now plug in the hard drive, the ID one, to gently. You don't want to bend any pins. And then I'm going to turn it on. Oh, I gotta plug in the damn thing. Okay. Helps you plug in the power adapter. There it goes. And this is just the test of the hard drive. See if it works on this machine. And it does. It's right here. You probably can't read it. But NTFS, 20 gigs, drive G. Here's a Windows 2000 install. Huzzah. So we're going to go ahead and close that. And we're going to turn this off. And we're going to gently unplug the hard drive. And we are going to test the SSD. Just to make sure the SSD is working. Same SSD as before. Damn locking connectors. I'm going to plug it right into the side here. Give it some juice. Ta-da! Ta-da! Oh, power. There you go. I don't exactly have the right power adapter for this, so it's kind of... Stop that. There it is. Basic disk, 55.9 gigabytes. Exactly what I was expecting. Thought I formatted that. Anyway, doesn't matter. Plug it. We're good. So both drives work on this controller. Or this USB guy here. So what I'm going to do is, because I can't really, I'm just going to tilt it down. This only goes in one way. This has a keyed plug. We're going to gently plug the adapter in. And then we're going to gently plug in the SATA connector. So this is, even though there's a SATA connector right here, I'm going through the IDE port into an adapter into this. So this is probably, I don't think this is going to work. But we're going to give it a shot anyway. So, juice. Uh-oh. Came on. But no hard drive was found. No hard drive is found. So even if I look under the device manager. Okay, so I got this older adapter, You might have seen these on eBay for a couple bucks out of China, and you wouldn't be wrong. I wonder if it works. It should power just fine. There's no way. I don't think I've used this recently on this, so we're gonna see if she works. Well, it's powered. Yep, comes right up. Comes right up, not a problem. So the adapter works. The hard drive in this adapter works. The SATA port is toast, so I'm not going to be able to test it with the new drive. Okay, let's pull that off. Let's try this again. So again, the adapter plugs in like so. It only goes in one way. Number two, we've put in the SATA drive, which goes in like yeah. Uh-oh, it's not spinning up. That's a joke. It's a SSD, it doesn't spin. But it didn't even come up. It doesn't even... Well, so... that adapter's fucked, somehow. So, well, at least it's just not working with this. I mean, I could try putting it into the little caddy in the hard drive of that laptop, and well, I'll give it a shot. See if it'll fit. I don't think so, but if you don't see it immediately following this sentence, then it didn't work.
Tomorrow for sure.
No, it did not. This is the adapter on the SSD. This is the adapter on the little adapter that's on the end of... where'd it go? Right here. This is the little caddy that the hard drive sits into. Now, I thought, okay, just take this off the caddy. Just have this dangling out the end, just to test. But it adds so much height. Backdrop. So it adds so much height, it's just not worth it. It is stupidly designed. If they had swapped it over a little bit and put it where it's on the same side, where you actually have a snowball's chance of getting it into something. Oh well. Cheap Chinese shit, what do you expect, right? So, I'm going to have to put this all back together without a hard drive, because I'm just going to buy a new hard drive. I am not going to take this hard drive is old and slow. It is, while I'm not exactly looking for something that is going to be super speedy, it would be nice. I'm thinking that because it's a SATA to IDE back to SATA, it's just nothing's going to work here. It's either that or the adapter itself doesn't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a couple nice little cards, flat SD cards, to IDE adapters, and I'm going to put them on like that, and I'm going to try that. And then I'm going to try to find a nice speedy IDE laptop drive in the meantime. And I'm just going to use an IDE drive. They should be cheap enough. Yeah, right. Famous last words. Anything of any kind of quality is going to be expensive. It doesn't matter what it is, even if it's 20 years old. But that is the ID, or the PCI to SATA to IDE to 2.5-inch hard drive Oddware. But wait, there's more. So I was getting out my little card reader so I can put the footage I just recorded on the computer, and I got my stream going. Or I'm watching the stream. But I found something I had forgotten about. Yes, it's a dual SD card to SATA adapter, on a SATA to IDE adapter, on an IDE to USB 3 adapter, and it fucking works. Yeah. So now I got because I got, yeah, I know, the power cable's screwy. So now I gotta try this monstrosity on this card and see if it actually works. I completely forgotten about this little card. I just have two 4 gig cards in here. By the way, it's a RAID 0, RAID 1, whatever the stripe is. So if you swap them around, it doesn't work. But if you take them out, put them in the correct way, you got an 8 gig, well in this case an 8 gig hard drive. But this came up, this worked. So let's put this IBM, let's get this, I'm going to have to give this a shot here. Because I had this all halfway put away. Okay, so normally I don't do reshoots. I hate doing reshoots. But I recorded me playing around with this for a little bit longer, and I accidentally hit the stop key and it wasn't recording. So I got to do this again. I am going to pretend I'm surprised. Yeah. So, number one, I'm going to test this little guy out in this adapter. Then I'm going to, I'm going to test this guy out, which is a SATA 1 drive. And then I'm going to test out my 1 terabyte drive here. And we're going to see if it's just that particular SSD this card does not like. So, moving along. Put that in here. Put that in here. It looks like this. Yep. Isn't that pretty? No, not really. But I'm going to move this in. I'm going to flick this on. And I'm going to pretend that it surprises what happens now. Okay, so now you can see the guy at the top message. And ta-da! 8 gigs. So that exactly matches the 2 4 gig cards I have in it. It's working. Yeah, there's no operating system on it. It's a blank disk. So this little abomination of a card works just fine. So let's move it on up to this particular Seagate drive. It's a momentous 5400 160 gig. And it doesn't. It's a little bit heavier. It's a little bit heavier. Looks just like that. God, isn't that a? I'm going to have to do something about that. But let's watch this post again. Okay, so we know that it is initializing again this time, because when it doesn't work, it doesn't even pop up with the screen at all. Boom, 152 gigabytes. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Golly, what a surprise. Okay, partition not found. That's, yeah, whatever. So it's trying to boot off that drive. I don't know what's on it. I don't think there's any. I'm not going to play with that at the moment, but it found the drive. It's trying to boot off of it. We're good. So I'm going to gently take that off again for the second time, and this time I'm going to put on this little Toshiba 1 terabyte drive. It should be blank. And I'm going to gently stick it on there, and we're going to turn it on. Pray that it doesn't fall off, because that's actually kind of a nice drive I like having around for things. It's actually what I got 24 of in my NAS. That's NAS, not ASS, by the way. Well, that's a good sign. And it comes up, but it is not liking that size. It doesn't know what to do with that size of hard drive. Which is completely understandable. I mean, the correct model number comes up, correct, everything comes up, but it's a 2003 BIOS. Yeah, didn't even dream about 1 terabyte hard drives in 2003. So, yeah, that's exactly as I expected and exactly what happened last time. So, Sata II drives will work, ish, but the capacity is almost obviously a limitation. The 1 terabyte drive is not going to work, but this little 160 does, and I will probably just use that little 160. Because I know there's a big hard drive barrier at 137, so anything past that is really, really sketchy, even in 2003. I mean, it's all the capacity I need is perfectly fine. I just wanted a little fast little drive, and I was thinking, oh, I can just put a little SATA drive on there, or a little SSD, and I'll be good. So maybe what I can do is I can find an old SATA II SSD, and I can do that. So, in the meantime, I'm going to keep playing with this a little bit. Maybe find a SATA II SSD. Maybe I'll buy one of those cheap Chinese IDE SSDs that you see on the market every now and then. This is not the end of this, but I will probably settle with this little 160 and call it a day. Now, I think that just about covers it. This has been the Fat Guy with Old Computers and the little SATA card that could. Thanks for watching. Again.
It's functional and it looks functional. Your first trip should be to the 3D movie at the drive-in theater. That way the kids get the full effect and you won't hear a thing. So remember, if women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.